Hello and welcome to another episode of Shetland Trader Chats. Today is September 1st and I am getting ready recording this podcast for tomorrow when this will go up to coincide with my first ever physical kit launch. So as you can see, I am wearing it here. It's called the Hairst Hap Hood. And I've been sharing about it on Instagram these last few days, showing pictures, and I'm going to talk you through it in this episode. But yes, I'm in that pre-launch day, anticipating how it's going to go. A little bit nerve-wracking. I have never done my own physical kit before. When I was working with Simply Shetland, we did kits that the stockists of Jamieson's yarn would order, and then they would sell those kits. And this is the first time I'm doing it just myself. So I have been busy getting all my ducks in a row and setting up Shopify and shipping and all of that. And actually, I will say right now that I'm only going to be shipping this within the US. That's mostly just because I kind of have to start pretty simple and can't really deal with lots of different shipping rates to different countries and different customs forms and all of that. So this time around, at least, we'll see how it goes. It will just be shipping within the US. Also, I am using a microphone today. A couple of people commented on the last video that the sound wasn't good. So I'm hoping that this will help. Please let me know if you notice a difference. I can't tell when I'm watching it myself on YouTube that there is a problem. So hopefully this will make a difference for those of you that were having trouble hearing me last time. Okay, so back to the Hairst Hap Hood. I have had this idea for a while now. As many of you know, I've shared about this particular shade, which is a custom color that Jamieson's put together for me in collaboration with me when I was doing my Knit Stars masterclass a year ago. And I asked them if they would create this custom color, and they very kindly agreed. And Louise at the mill worked with me on putting it together. And it was inspired by the shade that you see on the hillsides in Shetland in sort of late September, October time, which is when the bog cotton grass turns this rusty reddy color and kind of blankets the hillsides in Shetland. And that was the color that I wanted. And Louise did a great job. She put together a bunch of different blends, and I think I had 12 altogether to pick from, and this is the one we went with. And it hasn't been available as a shade to buy until now, and I have invested a fair amount in it for these kits. And the kits will come with 5 balls. Here's the bag. I shared the logo that my daughter Maya did for it, I think last time. So the kit will come in this bag with this lovely artwork, and there's 5 balls of Hairst. So Hairst is a word that's used in Shetland and in mainland Scotland to basically indicate the autumn or harvest time. So Louise actually suggested that would be a good name for this colour, and I totally agree. So that's why this became the Hairst Hap Hood. So yeah, you will get 5 balls of this color, which has not been available before. It is a limited edition. Once this color has sold out, that will be it. Jamieson's has, a lot of different colors, so this is a big deal to have a brand new one available, and I absolutely love it. The kit will come with a little postcard inside too that will give you all a QR code and coupon code, etc., to put in to redeem a copy of the pattern. I initially was thinking that I would only have the pattern available with the kit to begin with, and then release it later. But I've actually decided that it will be available as an individual digital download starting tomorrow as well. And partly that's because so many people were interested in ordering it, but don't necessarily live in the US. And I would like, everyone to enjoy knitting it, and just figured that I would go ahead and share the digital pattern at the same time. You will still get the pattern essentially, cheaper than buying it on its own and then buying the yarn. In terms of what the kit costs total, you are getting kind of the pattern at a very cheap rate within there. And I do need to sell these kits, so I am also encouraging you all to please purchase one if you can, if you are in the US, and or share and support me in that way. As I said, it's a little bit of a scary new aspect to the business, because I do have to actually invest in physical product up front, and yeah, it's hard to know how many kits you'll sell and all of that. So please spread the word. Obviously, I'll be linking to the Shopify shop where you can purchase this kit in the show notes below. And okay, so let me tell you a bit about the pattern itself, the design. So I mentioned that I'd had this idea for a while, and I don't think, as far as I could tell from looking and searching around, I couldn't really see a hood with this exact type of construction and inspiration. So a hap, for those of you who don't know, is a Shetland shawl. It's a traditional Shetland shawl. There are a couple of ways of constructing haps, and the method that I like to use is called the modern method, where you start at the center with a triangle or a diamond shape, and you make yarn overs as you work the triangle to shape it. And so that's what I did for the front and back of this hood. And then you work up to a certain point, and you put some stitches, or you bind off some stitches for the front neck and do some shoulder shaping, which involves short rows. So the shoulders are shaped with short rows on the front and the back, and then joined with a 3-needle bind off. And then you pick up stitches around that neckline to begin working the hood. I'm going to put up lots of pictures here because I've taken a bunch of different pictures of it in more detail so that you can see. You then work the hood, and the hood is worked flat, attached to the lower part, but you are working it back and forth. And then the top of the hood is shaped also with short rows and joined with a 3-needle bind off. You can kind of finish the hood at that point if you want, or you can add in these I-cord ties. The I-cord ties are purled I-cord, so that looks like garter stitch because all of the rest of the hood is garter stitch. And I wanted it to, tie in nicely there. So you start by making one tie first, just as a piece of I-cord, and then you start to attach it to the front of the hood opening, and then you finish working the length of the second tie. The other thing that you can add, which you're not seeing on this version of it here, is a tiny little bit of the old shell lace, which is the Shetland lace pattern that is used in traditional Shetland haps. You just do a tiny little bit of it at the edges here, and that can create a nice kind of little decorative effect if you want a little bit more playful whimsy to your hap, so your hood, sorry. And so there are different options to add on. I chose to keep the I-cord ties on this version, but not the lace part. So yeah, you can play around with that. The intention with this was for it to primarily really be a hood type of garment rather than a poncho. So I didn't want to make the lower body like too large, because the intention was for it to fit underneath a jacket comfortably, but still be keeping, you know, your front and back core spaces nice and cozy, which I love to do when I am chilly. You know, we're starting to get into some cooler temps now, which I love. Um, but in the fall and winter, I definitely tend to have something around my neck, quite often a hat on, etc. I also figured that for anybody who's interested in having it as another layer, in amongst, you know, say their farming chores and things like that, it will fit easily underneath a jacket. You could also still have a hat on and things like that. If you don't do the I-cord attachment, then the hood is a little looser at the front. So it just really depends on your preference there. And yep, it's mostly, well, it's all garter stitch, but it does have, yeah, some fun little techniques and shaping, etc., in there to keep the interest going. I also made a very detailed video tutorial to accompany it. That was kind of, I mean, I do tend to put in video tutorials for a lot of my patterns, but recently, since really starting sewing and being a beginner with sewing techniques, I have found it so helpful when a pattern comes with a video tutorial, because sometimes there are things that maybe are assumed you know how to do, and just seeing them demonstrated visually is really, really helpful. So I kind of have been applying that a bit more to patterns that I've been writing recently, and keeping that in mind, that I want patterns to be accessible really to anybody. So even if you are a relatively new knitter, that you feel like you could approach a project like this. So it comes, yes, with a good video tutorial too, and I am also going to hold a knit along for this, which I decided I will start on September 22nd because that's the autumn equinox. That is also right before I leave to go to Shetland, and then I will be there for Shetland Wool Week when this colour is all over the hillside. And so I figured it would be fun to maybe kick it off on the autumn equinox. So I will share more information about that particular knit along and how you can take part in that in another episode. Perhaps I will link to, I'll set up a page for it on my Ravelry group as well, just so people have a place to go to right now to start the chatter around it. You know, it's a relatively quick project. You know, it would be a great Rhinebeck knit along too. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here for Rhinebeck, but maybe some of you might want to make it to wear there, and maybe you can take pictures of yourself at Rhinebeck with one of these and send those to me or share those on social media. That would be fun, so I can kind of take part vicariously. What else do I want to tell you about? Oh, my daughter's friend who lives locally here left this comment when I shared some pictures of this hood, that it reminded her of, and I'm having to look at my notes now because I don't know if I'll pronounce this correctly, but of an old sort of Viking era Norwegian hood that's called a skjoldehamne. No idea if I pronounced that correctly or not. I will put up a picture of it here. It's a very similar shape. I mean, those hoods were made with a woven woolen fabric, and but did have a triangular shape to them. So inadvertently, I have tapped into those Scandinavian ancestry vibes, I guess, and that's influenced this too. So I like that connection that's there. What else do I tell you? I think that's mostly it about the hood. As I said, I'm going to share lots of pictures so you can see it kind of in more detail on here. And feel free to ask me any questions about it on this episode as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to wearing this in Shetland, taking it with me. Both my kids want one as well, so I'm definitely going to have to make some more. And I do feel like it has a pretty multi-generational appeal. And as I said, I haven't really seen anything quite like it on Ravelry in terms of construction, etc. The other thing that I like about it personally is that it's just going to stay in place. You know, you're not wrapping something around that, you know, needs to be secured or whatever. Once it's on, especially if you have a jacket over it too, then, you know, it easily stays in place and keeps you warm. So I hope you like it as much as I do. And I look forward to seeing people knit this up. The other thing I was going to mention is that I will have a new website coming. I have somebody working on that right now, and this is the first time I'm doing a physical kit. If it goes well, I would like to offer those again in the future. You know, I could see there being some great colorwork kits that I could offer. People certainly really seem to like help with that. And I'm interested in doing that. So there could be some other physical products that I have, and that will be connected, you know, through my website, and Shopify will be more integrated into my website and everything. My website has been down for a long time because I was trying to redo it, but of course it was taking me forever. So now I'm going to pay somebody else to do it. So hopefully that will be ready sometime in October. That's what I'm anticipating. So yeah, looking forward to that. I don't want to make this episode too long because it's mostly to share about the Hairst Hap kit, but I am still continuing with the Bear knit along, and a few more people have joined in with that, which is great. And I have made a little bit more progress on mine, so I've gotten into the colorwork part at the top, and just really loving how that is turning out. And I also used the same Hairst color in this Bear too, so I'm enjoying seeing that knit up. And again, I'll link to that knit along. It's going until the end of the year, and you're free to join in at any time. It's not too late or anything. I'm also continuing to, you know, be busy working on my book projects, various different ideas coming together for that. I don't know if you can see up there this little fishy swatch that I have going on. So I have this idea of integrating somehow a stranded fish, specifically a mackerel, which see if I can get this up. That's what I have. It's going to be upside down. Okay, this way. A tattoo that I have that my daughter gave me. So I was aiming for a mackerel-like stranded motif there. That's not the final version of it. I think I'm going to do a little bit more swatching, but it was fun to chart it out and think up ideas around that. So stay tuned for more fish-themed stuff. On the sewing front, I finished a kale or a callie not sure how you pronounce it, we'll call it kale, shirt dress. So I had made one of these shirts in a shorter version because it comes in different lengths, a couple of months ago, maybe, a striped one. And I really wanted like a very long one. So I actually extended the length of the pattern so that it would be quite a dramatic length, almost could be worn, as a duster type thing. I was inspired by a couple of others that I saw at that length via Instagram posts. And so I finished that up and really, really like it. I used a linen viscose fabric for that. So it's got kind of quite a nice drape to it. And yeah, I can see wearing that in various different ways. I did not have a fun time doing the buttonholes on that one. There are quite a lot of them because it's so long. And for some reason, my buttonhole buttonhole foot for the sewing machine randomly decides it doesn't want to make a buttonhole nicely. And so it would do one and it would be smooth. And then I would try it again and it would jam up and not be fun. So that was a little frustrating, but I got there in the end. I just have a couple of weeks before I am taking a trip out to Colorado. And when I return from that trip, I only have a couple of days here back home before I go to Shetland. So I'm trying to figure out what I can get done sewing wise in that time. And I think I've promised my kid Sage a pair of the Helen selvage jeans that I made, the green ones that I shared last time. So I have cut those out. I've also cut out to make myself another pair of those in exactly the same denim as I'm using for Sage. And we are pretty much the same size. So I'm going to make another pair for myself at the same time. And I probably am not going to manage an awful lot more sewing. I'm going to do a bag, which I'm making along with some friends. It's a bag kit that came from Clumhouse, I think it's called. The bag is called the Slab Town, and my friend Mari had made a different bag from them, and we all saw it when we were at Flock, and we were all super excited about it and loved it. So we decided we'd all make this other version together. So there's a bunch of us that have the kit. And I think we're going to get started on that this week. So that should be fun. And then when I go to Colorado, I am first going to spend a few days at Mari's house. And Alicia is joining us too. And we're going to have a little sewing session together for a couple of days. And I think we're going to make some Barry pants as kind of sweatpants and a Paige hoodie too. So we're going to come with those things cut out already and sew those together. So very excited about that. And then I'll be going fully into the mountains, into the Rockies for the Maker and Stitch retreat for a few days, which will be gorgeous. Be a really nice time of year to be in Colorado. So I am very excited about all things, but it's starting to feel like there is not much time left at all until I go to Shetland. And actually an update a little bit on that, not that it really affects you, but we are not actually going to be going for quite as long as we initially planned. We will be going basically until Christmas time. So 3 months instead of sort of 6 or 7 months. And for various different reasons, we decided that was a good idea. I will need to start thinking about what I'm packing. So I think for the next episode, I was thinking I would share the knits that I'm taking. So I do have in mind like some of the, especially like colorwork designs of mine that I will be taking with me. And so I will, I think, share more about that on the next episode, which won't be too long from now. I'll probably try to get that in before I head to Colorado. And I think that that's going to be it for this episode today. I'm not doing any perimenopause updates today. Still taking the birth control. Nothing really significant to report on that. But yeah, we'll return to that in another episode. So I hope that you tell your friends about the Hairst Hap Hood. I hope that you knit it and that I see these appearing out in the world. And thank you so much for watching and supporting me here. Just a reminder to subscribe as well. That helps. And until next time, enjoy September.